Academy. For today, we're going to be looking on how to solve this problem. Find the first four term in the expansion root 2 minus x. This is I want to apply the concept of binomial theorem to expand this question. So what do I do? My first task here is to simplify this in index form. So to do that, I will express this in index form. If I express this in index form, I have root 2 minus x. In index form becomes 2 minus x to the power of 1 over 2. I express this in index form. I have all this. Now, from the idea of binomial theorem of rational or negative index, we discussed on the formula, and the formula is in two forms. The one of the positive and the one of the negative. Let me recall you. We said 1 plus t to the power of n is equal in value to 1 plus nt plus n into n minus 1 t squared over 2 factorial plus n into n minus 1 n minus 2 t cubed over 3 factorial. This is the formula to solve binomial theorem of rational or negative index. This is for positive sign. For negative, we said 1 minus t to the power of n is equal in value to 1 minus nt plus n into n minus 1 t squared over 2 factorial plus minus n into n minus 1 n minus 2 t cubed over 3 factorial. This is the positive formula, while this is negative formula. For this question, I'm having negative sign inside, so I'm using this formula to apply to solve this question. But there is something to observe. From our previous example we have been doing, we solved a question on root 1 minus x. I can easily solve this. I can apply this formula to solve this straightforward. Because my 1 is 1, my t is x. So while my n is what? If I express this in index form, I'll be having 1 minus x to the power of what? 1 over 2. So therefore, my n is 1 over 2, while my t is what? X. But in this case, I can't call my t 2. I need to express all this in form of this. That's the idea. I need to express all these terms in form of this. So if I do that, I can write this in. I can write this as 2 into 1 minus x over 2 to the power of 1 over 2. Do you agree with me? I can write all this as this. Let me simplify this for you. This is 2 times 1 is 2. Minus sign, this is here. 2 times all this, I have 2x over 2 to the power of what? 1 over 2. If I simplify this, 2 can cancel out 2. I'm left with 2 minus x over 2. Minus 2 minus x to the power of what? 1 over 2. This is the same as this. So I will express this in this form. Right? So after expressing this form, if you observe closely, I can equate this with this now to get my expansion. So not something, it is in this form, rather 1 over 2. Now I can expand this by saying 2 to the power 1 over 2 into 1 minus x over 2 to the power of 1 over 2. So this is, I apply indices, right? This one will come up here, while this will come up here. As you can see what I'm adding here. I can express this as saying root 2 into 1 minus x over 2 to the power of 1 over 2. Now, here's the idea. I'll pick out just this one. I will expand it. After the expansion, I will put a bracket and put this in front of the expansion. Right? So that's the idea. So I will expand this. Now, the next thing I need to do now is to equate. This is minus and minus. I'm applying this formula. That becomes, I have 1 minus x over 2 to the power of what? 1 over 2. Equate it to the formula. I have 1 minus t to the power of what? N. Why I'm doing this is to get n and get t. What is my n? My n here is 1 over 2. N is 1 over 2. While my t is what? X over 2. X over 2. So therefore, anywhere I see x, n, I'll put 1 over 2. Anywhere I see t, I'll put x over 2. So doing that, I'll rewrite this formula up here. Alright, recall from the formula, we said 1 minus t to the power of n is equal in value to 1 minus nt plus n plus minus plus n into n minus 1 t squared over 2 factorial minus n into n minus 1 n minus 2 t cubed over 3 factorial, right? So at this point, I'm applying this formula because I'm having negative in this expansion here, the question given. There's negative there, so I'm applying negative rational index to solve this. Now, my first task is that I'm having 1. This is 1. So it's not equal to 1 minus n. What we said n is 1 over 2. So that becomes 1 over 2, right? Multiply t. T is x over 2 into x over 2, right? So plus, I have a plus. This is n. N is 1 over 2. That becomes 1 over 2 into 1 over 2 minus 1. N is 1 over 2 minus 1. T, we said t is what? X over 2. X over 2 to the power of what? 2. Alright, if I proceed, it's now in minus, I have this minus sign. N is 1 over 2 into 1 over 2 minus 1. Right? So, into 1 over 2 minus 2, as you can see, n is 1 over 2 minus that 2. T, you said t is x over 2, that becomes x over 2 into the power of what? 3 over 3 factorial. Right? I have this. My next task is that I will have 1, this 1, minus 1 times x, I have x, over 2 times 2, I have 4. I have this. Next up, this is plus, I have a plus sign here. Now, observe something. This is 1 over 2 into 1 over 2 minus 1, I have minus 1 over 2, right? Into, this is, if I expand, I apply the idea of indices, that becomes x squared over 4. Because I have x over 2 to the power of 2. These 2 will come to the power here, these 2 will come to the power here. That becomes x to the power of 2 over 2 to the power of 2. That becomes x squared over what? 4. Because x is power 2 is power 2 is 4. So when I expand this now, I had this value. So if I proceed from this point, I have, this is the minus sign, I have minus 1 over 2 into minus 1 over 2. 1 over 2 minus 1 is 1 minus 1 over 2 into, this is minus 3 over 2. 1 over 2 minus 2, that's minus 3 over 2. I have this, that becomes x to the power of 3 over 8. I know you guys know I got this. I just explained that with this example. X cubed, this 3 will come to the power here, while this 3 will come to the power of 2 here. 2 per 3 is 8. Now, over, don't forget this, don't forget something, over 2 factorial here, over 3 factorial. Alright, here becomes 2 factorial, here becomes 3 factorial. Right? At this point, it's not equal in value to, this is 1 minus x over 4 plus, now listen, this is plus, this is minus. The only sign I'm having here is minus. Minus times plus is what? Minus. So I'll put minus here. Now listen, 1 times x squared becomes x squared over 2 times 2 becomes 4. 4 times 4 becomes 16. I have 16 at this point. Do not forget we have over 2 factorial. Over what? 2 factorial. And I can write this as what? Divided by 2 factorial. See the same thing. Over means division, 2 factorial. It's okay this way. Minus, I have 1 over 2, right? Now here's the idea. Let's simplify it. Here's the idea. Inside this, leaving this minus first, this is minus here. Inside all this term, all this numerator, I'm having those two signs, minus and minus. So minus times equals what? Plus. Plus. So that plus times this minus equals what? Minus. I have this minus here. Now, 1 times 3x cubed, that becomes what? 3x cubed over, now, listen, I have 2 times 2, 4, 4 times 2, 8, right? 8 times 8 is 64, I have 64, divided by 3 factorial, I have this. Now, at this stage, that will be my value, that becomes 1 minus x over 4 minus x squared over 16, 2 factorial. We just discussed that factorial is simply the multiplication of consecutive terms in descending order such that each term differs from the 1 until 1. So 2 factorial becomes 2. Now, I will change this division sign into what? Multiplication. Note that there's an invisible one down here. I will invert, that becomes 1 over 2 factorial. But just say 2 factorial is what? 2. That becomes 2. I have this. Now this is a minus sign. Minus 3x cubed over 64. 3x cubed over 64. Now division comes to times. Note that there's an invisible one here. I will invert, that becomes 1 over 3 factorial. But 3 factorial is what? 6. From the idea of factorial, 3 factorial is simply 3 times 2 times 1, which is 6. So therefore, I'll put 6 here as my value. Alright, if I proceed, if I simplify that term, right? If I simplify that term, I'll be having 1, this one, minus x over 4, minus, not something please, minus, minus. Alright, we have x squared over 16, multiplying 1 over 2. X squared times 1, I have x squared over 16 times 2, that should be 32. I have 32, right? I've already simplified all these things. Now this is minus. I'll put a minus sign here, right? Minus sign is here, this minus sign. Now 3x cubed times 1, that becomes 3x cubed over 64 times 6. 64 times 6, I will have 384. That becomes 384. Alright, at this stage, I can easily proceed. That becomes, note something please, this 3 can cancel out this, right? So, if I divide that, if I take it this way, 1 x over 4 minus x squared over 32 minus 3 here, 1 is 1, 3 here we have 2, 1, 2, 8. 1, 2, 8. Alright, that becomes 1, sorry, instead of 1, just put s cubed. S cubed over what? 1, 2, 8. Note something, please. This is our what? Expansion, right? When we expand this term, only this term, this is our answer. But there's a root 2. So simply what? Bracket it this way and put what? And put root 2 in front of it. Here is my answer to that question after expansion. So here's my answer to that expansion. So thanks for watching.